Well, hello there. Welcome to a new season of the Greatest League in the World podcast, coming to you today from HQ at Abbottstown. It's myself, Conor Murphy, joined as ever by, I was going to say St. Pat's winger Conan Byrne, but they eventually got rid of him. He's playing for Shelbourne this season and looking forward to a season in the First Division. Conan, it's going to be I know they didn't get rid of you really.
God, say what you want, Conor, okay? Say what you want.
He would have been happy to stay at Pat's and they would have been happy to keep him, but just because of the teaching training didn't quite training times didn't quite suit. So moving across the city to Shelbourne, it's going to be an interesting season ahead for you. Joined here today by Steven Beattie and Paul Doolin, two men with long distinguished careers in the league. Paul, who went on to manage with great success as well, and one of the great winners in the league down through the years. For Steven, leaving Cork City and going to play in America with Chattanooga Red Wolves. So you have an interesting adventure ahead of you as well, Steven, after another great career here with Bohs, Sligo and Cork.
Yeah, I can't wait for the move, yeah. It's something different, something I've always wanted to do, and kind of want to hit the 30 mark. I think that was my time to go, so I'm delighted. Won a few things in the league and got to play in Europe, so time to new pastures. Was
it a tough decision though?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I think you're seeing the social media stuff as well, and kind of had a good connection with the Cork fans, and that's hard for a dub to get that sort of connection, so I didn't really want to leave it, but as I said, it was something I wanted to kind of to do eventually, and I was over there as a young lad, and I think now's the perfect time to do it.
Tell us how the move panned out for you.
I got a DM on Instagram now. It's not the usual DM, it was just a coach reached out to me and I said, look, get in contact with my agent because I'm still with Cork and I want to focus on Cork, and we were trying to win the league at the time and so obviously still in the cup, so it ended up, it was just an offer that I couldn't say no to, and very tough as I said, but it's just definitely the right thing to do. And you
have a degree already from your time in America before?
I do, yeah. I got my degree in marketing with a minor in public relations, so something I always tell the young lads around the towns, like, look, something to fall back on, you need it, so if you don't go to England, it's not be all end all, there's other options, other avenues, so if football could go wrong any time, you know yourself, so I have something to fall back on, it's a degree and I can get to work there.
Paul, would you have liked to have played abroad at some stage?
Of course, Con. I think in fairness, at the time there was a couple of times where I had one or two chances. Possibly could have went to Sweden, but I think it was a little bit different then. I was working, had a young family, and you have to uproot everybody. And where now it's a little bit different, I think, and it's great. I mean, it's a great opportunity for Stephen or anyone that gets the opportunity to play, whether it's England, where mostly they go. But I've always advocated down through the years to younger players, look somewhere else apart from England. I always look in terms of continent, whether it's Scandinavia, whether it's Europe, because I think there is players down through the years, for me, who are technically superb players and probably just in the wrong leagues. Move to the wrong league, maybe make a wrong league, maybe to me their agent's not looking out for them properly. Like, does that player suit going to that league? So that's why I think it's a great opportunity, and he's right, sure he may as well.
And like, you would have played with the likes of Liam Buckley, who went off and played with great success in Spain and so on. Alan Campbell as well from that team.
Yeah, both of them played in Spain, and like probably very few players, if you looked, have ever gone to anywhere on the continent. Very, very few. I don't know why. Sometimes, like I often say, if you look at clubs on the continent, they go to Sweden, they go to Finland, they pay maybe 1-2 million for a player. And if you look at the clubs here, there's some great players here, and just don't. Whatever it is, I'm not sure whether they think.
Maybe they don't trust
exactly,
Irish players.
Exactly, yeah, and that's they probably associate as British players.
It's starting to become more popular though. Richie Ryan's gone over and James Chambers gone over, and hopefully you're trying to follow in the footsteps of those type of players.
I mean, that's two good footballers you mentioned there. Like Richie Ryan, probably one of the best passers of football that's played in the league, and he's still doing. I was watching him in Cincinnati last year. He's a brilliant footballer, and you can emulate that sort of style and that sort of play. You'll do successful over there. But Chambers as well. Chambers went over there flying a brand new team like I'm going to, and he was main captain the first year, and he's just signed back again a few months ago. So if I can emulate them two, that'd be definitely something special. But just have to work hard, as you said. You know yourself, Conan, and football. You just have to work hard, and what will come will come. You know.
The only thing I know about Chattanooga is the choo-choo. But do you know anything about
all I know. No, that was the first thing everyone said to me, to be honest with you.
Have you learned that song?
Like maybe the initiation song. Yeah.
Oh, as soon as I got the offer and that, I just onto Google. To be honest with you, I didn't know where it was. Didn't even know what state it was. The message said Chattanooga, so...
He's a teacher, he'll tell us.
Yeah.
Tennessee,
isn't it? Tennessee, yeah. So I'm an hour and a half from Nashville, an hour and a half from Atlanta, the other way. So, proper down south. It'll be an experience anyway, but I seem to get on with a lot of people, like friendly persons. Hopefully that stands to me, and obviously the Irish card over in America always helps. A lot of them think they're Irish. So.
And in terms of getting the visa and stuff, was that all pretty straightforward, or what way was that?
But their solicitor got to work on it straight away, and it was pre-approved, but it still took about 8 to 9 weeks to get it sorted. It's actually only coming tomorrow or the next day.
Right.
Yeah, so that started on December 4th, so it's a long process, but it's going to be worth it definitely. And as I said, it's a good adventure.
So let's talk about the new season coming up. What do you think the key transfer were over the close season?
Well, I think probably at the moment, I wouldn't say it's finished with club signing players. I think if you look through, there's a few decent transfers. Probably the biggest ones, you probably look at Dundalk. I mean, they've lost 1 or 2 players. They've gained 1 or 2. Kelly from Bows. I mean, he's done really well. I seen him playing at Bray there in probably a couple of years. I remember saying, "Who's this fella here?" Looked good. Then he went to Bows, and he seemed to probably improve again. Maybe like a lot of players that went to Bows, the younger players, and he's got to move to Dundalk.
Would he be like a like for Dylan Connolly? Do you think Dylan gone to Wimbledon? Would it be a similar type of player?
Again, too, I think looking at like obviously he's left foot. Dylan was right foot. He's on the right hand side now. He can play on both sides. But I think he's from what I'd seen, and to be fair, I dealt with Dylan as well down through the years, the under-19s. And I remember seeing Dylan playing for Ipswich under-23s when Tom was over in England, and I was looking and saying to myself, he wasn't good in the game. And basically I felt because they were trying to give him the ball to his feet, where I think it's better in front of him. And there's very few players can catch Dylan Connolly when he opens up. He's really, really quick. Where the other guy, I think Kelly, he's a little bit more, he's more of a dribbler. He can take people on, and I think that was a good sign. It'll be interesting to see, obviously, playing with Bows and playing with Dundalk. Dundalk want to win the double, probably again, or the league anyway, for a start. So it's a little bit of a step up for him. Can he do it? But he looks like a good player. He looks like he has the tools to do it.
Losing Stephen O'Donnell though to retirement won't help.
Yeah, what a player, but I think the biggest thing with Stephen O'Donnell is his impact off the pitch. I think he held that group together for a long time. I mean, Dundalk are the best thing arguably in the league for the last 3 or 4 or 5 years, and I think Stephen O'Donnell was a major factor in that. So can they replace that? I think they will. They've got leaders all over the pitch, but the fact that Stephen's staying around, the coaching staff's going to be big for Dundalk.
Sorry, Stephen, I think personally, apart from replacing him, I already think they have a very good player there. He's been outstanding for them over the last 3 seasons. Well, basically the last 2, which is Chris Shields.
Yeah.
He's been outstanding for them. When you look, and again, too, I have to be honest, probably when you look back and see him in his earlier days in his career at Bray, you would have never saw that type of player that's at Dundalk at the moment, and he's been fantastic for them. Maybe he hasn't got probably the plaudits that he should. Okay, Stephen's been great, as you said. He's been very good down through the years. Fantastic career. But Shields has been great. So they already have one there. They have a few decent players there as well. I'm sure they probably will sign someone.
I suppose though really the big question about Dundalk this season is Stephen Kenny has moved on. Vinnie Perth and John Gill come in now. How do they, fill very big shoes?
I think Vinnie, because he's been the setup since the start with Stephen, I think it's going to be a smooth transition. That's my personal opinion. I think he's just going to go the exact way Stephen did. Obviously, player management might be a little bit different, but regards to the setup and the training, I think it's going to be very similar. Vinny's very vocal. You see him on the sideline. He doesn't just sit down. So I think he's just going to pick up from where Stephen left off. And that's been honest with you. But Paul's the manager.
Well, I think again too. Look, down through the years, there's been people that have made steps up. Some have been very good. Some haven't. Some people in the past have felt that they were doing it. Maybe now I don't know anything about Dundalk, so maybe Vinnie Perth was doing the coaching already, or he was organising. I couldn't tell you, but it is a little bit different because the buck stops with you and nobody else, and that goes for anything. Again, too, look, Dundalk have been great over the last number of years, and Stephen was there, and Vinnie was obviously his assistant. But I think if you're looking, from what I can read, a quote, they want to get into the Champions League, and I think the hullabaloo at the start of, can they give it to Vinnie Perth? Can they not? He's not a qualified coach. They have to get somebody else in. It'll only tell when the season comes to an end next year whether it was the right one or whether it wasn't. Again, players, will they adjust that maybe who's the manager, who isn't the manager? So it'll be interesting to see. But I think if he's been there, he deserves a chance. He has been there and he's been.
So as an outsider looking in, what do you think John Gill's role in Dundalk's team will be this year?
I haven't a clue, Conan. I might as well tell you I don't know what role it is, and that's being honest with you, I just don't.
Yeah.
I haven't a race.
Well, I suppose he's fulfilling the pro licence requirement for them anyway, which I think he's going on the next pro licence course. Doesn't have it at the moment, so. Yeah,
but the only thing I'd say, Con, there is, to be fair, I mean, there's coaches here qualified, okay, and the rule of state is you cannot do a club if you don't have a pro licence. That's what I was informed by the director of coaching across in the building from here. So you either can or you can't, and that's the thing. Probably because nobody challenges it, you can do. Probably the FAI can say, listen, just let me go ahead. But it shouldn't, in my opinion. In my opinion, it shouldn't be.
Well,
and that's nothing against anybody.
Dundalk argue though that by putting John Gill in, that it ticks that box. It does lead to maybe an awkward relationship though between him and Vinny, unless it's laid out very early.
It would have to be. Yeah.
Here's what we do.
It would have to be.
I don't know.
But then what's the point in having him?
Ticking boxes.
Ticking boxes.
Ticking boxes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, with the gap now, with Dundalk and Cork, I suppose, not really making any high-profile signings, game changers, so to speak. I think Shamrock Rovers have started to come in now, and they probably will close the gap on the top two. How do you think they'll get on this season?
Yeah, when you're asking about signings that are going to make a big impact, I think Aaron McAniff's a great signing for them from Derry. He hit the ground running last year. Halfway through the year, he was flying. Probably one of the best players in the league for half a year, and then he kind of died off. But so did Derry. Derry kind of went a bit of a shambles up there, you know. Management changes and that, and obviously Jack Byrne. We know what the capabilities of Jack Byrne, but a lot of people come back to the league and struggle, you know, high-profile players like that. So it's going to be interesting to see how he does. But that's potentially another fantastic signing. I think Shamrock Rovers recruited very well, you know.
Are they missing that number 9 up front to bang in the 20 goals?
I was going to say, I still think they're missing one, an out-and-out goal scorer, Gary Twigg sort of thing. That you know you're going to
come back, Gary.
Yeah, you're going. I just got to plug that in for you. No, but you're guaranteed goals with Gary Twigg, the likes, you know. And I think Rovers are missing that. You know, they sold Shaw to Pats, so Dan Carr's probably the only one up there now.
Aaron Green can play.
Aaron Green, another fantastic.
Not going to score 20 goals a season though, is he?
More of a wide player, in my opinion, than a centre forward. So I think if Rovers get a centre forward that's guaranteed goals, I think they'll go very close.
How difficult is it, Paul, to get in a striker of good quality into this league?
Yeah, well, I think probably if you look back at last year when we started on this programme, I think the two people we mentioned was Graham Cummins and Patrick Hogan were the two players that we spoke about. Obviously Patrick Hogan was the better one in the end. Graham's still a very good player. He didn't get as many goals maybe for yourselves. I don't know if he was injured through the season where Hogan was banging them in. I do think, just going back to Rovers, I think it's imperative that they do. They have to. Like let's be fair. You can say what you want and you can do all the talking that you want. They're 2.5 years nearly coming into their third season and they're 25 points behind Dundalk. This is probably their best opportunity, because if you looked at what we spoke about a few minutes ago with Dundalk, you're not sure what way maybe that's going to go. Cork City at the moment, they've lost some players, they've signed some players. So this is probably the chance that they've been waiting for, hoping that they would hang in there, because after 6 months, and to be honest, I'm a firm believer with coaches, 6 months, yeah, it's okay, you let them off. 12 months, you say, yeah, you'd like to see an improvement. 18 months there should be, but 2.5 years. If the players feel that they were under pressure last year, they'll be under pressure from the first whistle this season, because they need to do something. They were knocked out of the cup last year by Longford, League Cup, knocked out the FA Cup by Drogheda, and after nearly 3 years there has to be something. So this has to be their year. They have to. And that's, no matter who it is, no matter who's managed the Shamrock Rovers, if it's Jose Mourinho or Stephen Bradley or Paul Doolin or whoever it may be, you have to do it.
What do the fans think?
I think Lee Grace, who was player of the season last season, made it. Once he became established in the heart of that defence, they stopped conceding goals, and they've brought in some interesting players. I think McAniff is a good signing.
He definitely looked very good a couple of years ago.
And I think they'll be there or thereabouts anyway, you know. But another striker.
Yeah, well, I know they were after Joe Gormley from Cliftonville for a long time.
I agree with Paul. I agree with Paul what he's saying. Like, a club like Shamrock Rovers have to be winning things. You can't go another year and say, well, look, we're bringing the kids through and whatever. You have to get results now. It's been going on too long.
Now again too, like, to be fair as well too, Stephen, it's difficult to win it, but you should be up there challenging.
Absolutely.
I think 25 points after 2.5 years is a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is.
Yeah.
No matter what way you look at it, it's been what you want. It doesn't matter if it's Shamrock Rovers, if it's Dundalk, if it's Cork City, St Patrick's Athletic as well, another one too that we haven't spoken about too. But I think when you looked at the players that they signed, Jack Byrne, who I know, I wouldn't say well, but I know him from the under-19s, Aaron McAniff. Actually,
I don't know that much about Jack Byrne, sorry to interrupt, but tell us a bit about him. Like, what does he bring to the party?
I think the first time I seen him was up in the AUL when he was with the under-15s or the emerging talent, that he could say that he has ability, there is no doubt. He
Playmaker?
See a pass, yeah, definitely. You can see a pass. But I think there's other sides when that is not so good. And if you look that he's been gone from clubs, and I dealt him with the under-19s. I didn't pick him then in the under-19s. And
attitude.
Yes, yeah.
The only thing I would say is like Graham Burke, when he came back, got sent off twice, I think, in the first few weeks, and people were saying, "Oh God, what's going on here?"
Sending offs. I think when personally I feel, and like I think at any level, you need discipline.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter what team, whether it's senior club players, senior international players, underage international players. And I remember I left the Melbourne squad, but then he was picked above me by the 21. So then you're wasting your time. Maybe if he hadn't have, his discipline may have helped. But an outstanding player,
Down through the years, have you seen players come into a dressing room who just haven't had the right focus or attitude or whatever?
Yeah, you see it regularly. Like I mentioned on here, I wouldn't say, like I mentioned Thomas Byrne last season as one of the best players that I've ever played with in training. This stuff that he can do with a ball, but just things don't happen for him. He's getting a new lease of life now with his hometown Drogheda this season, and hopefully it works out for him.
Was he not at Drogheda before?
He was, yeah.
He
but
was
he's gone back there. Hopefully,
yeah.
And hopefully now he'll just kick on again. The talent that he has, I have never seen like the stuff that he can do with a ball. I've never seen anybody else do with it. And I'm supposedly, like, I'm just thinking of Jack Byrne here now, and he was meant to be the next star, world star. He's with Manchester City. Patrick Vieira had him under his wing, and how difficult it must be for a young man to fall from that, I don't know, height, yeah. Thanks. To fall from that height where he is now, where he was falling around lower league clubs. And you were talking about earlier about
he went to Holland.
Players playing on the continent, players playing in the wrong league. I think creative players shouldn't be like Jack, shouldn't be going down to League 1, League 2 and trying to resurrect their careers. They should be going to foreign continental game, America.
I'd love Chris Forrester to have gone to the continent. I think that would have suited him perfectly.
But like, can you go back even years? Tony Sheridan. Unbelievable.
He'd gone to Holland or Spain or Belgium or somewhere like that.
Just obviously sometimes, like younger players, something happens, they go that way or they go that way, and unfortunately.
Stephen, how are Cork City going to cope with the loss of Steven Beattie next season?
Don't worry about me. Kieran Sadler's the one you want to be worried about.
He's a big loss, actually, isn't he?
Yeah.
And Jimmy,
John said something in the papers yesterday that Jimmy's not going to return, so we didn't have a clue. It was just up in the air. So I think the girlfriend wanted him to move back to England, so he's looking for a club over there at the moment. But Kieran Sadler's the one. You know.
How good is he?
You talked about Thomas Byrne training. Sadler technically is probably one of the best players I've trained with. I said to Paul off camera, he can shoot from anywhere, find a pass. If you can teach him how to defend, he'd be a complete player. That's why he's playing out wide left, and you know, I think a free roll would suit Kieran perfect, where he can kind of get away with not tracking back. But I just used to try and get him the ball and just let him do his thing and leave him off one-on-one, don't go near him, just take on. But you can see he's getting a good move to Doncaster now. They're 6th or 7th League 1, so I can see him going up the leagues and Championship. But
he's a very good player too. Sorry,
yeah,
I dealt with him in the under-19s. He hadn't been picked at a stage when I took over, and it was his age group, and he came and he's probably not your most aggressive player, but what a player technically, like at a high level. Again, another player that's gone to Doncaster, lower league. The League 1 is it, Doncaster? Tough league, very tough. But he's definitely out wide. We never played him out wide, but I didn't play him as a 10. And sure, he's more dangerous. He can see passes. He can strike the ball from edge of the box. Some of the goals. Was it the cup game last year against Longford?
Longford, yeah.
He hit a strike there, won the outside the box. But very good player and a very good fella as well. Yeah. Good trainer, from what I remember of him. And he was a great lad. He scored a free kick against Switzerland for us.
But can Cork challenge again this season then, or are they still knocking on the door, or are they a player or two short?
I'll be perfectly honest, I think we're a player or two short now at the moment there, definitely. He's done great to hold on to Sean McLaughlin, left side centre half, young lad. A lot of English teams were in for him. Done well to keep him, signed Shane Griffin back, left full back, could be decent, but he needs another centre forward and a winger. You know, coming start of the season, Wales scored a few goals, we kind of dried up as a team, and Comes included.
Is that confidence with Graham?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Sean Maguire was the same. His confidence was on the floor. Couldn't get a game for Dundalk. Came to us, flew. And Graham was similar. He started off flying. We actually played Pat's first game of the season. He scored 2. It got sent off actually.
That was a hard sending off.
I'm not on here to talk about referees. I'm the wrong person to talk about referees. But No, it's definitely a confidence thing. Yeah, and he works very, very hard. Now, in fairness, you see him, he runs around, but it's just a confidence thing. But no, I think Cork at the moment, what they have down there, I don't think will be up to the top 2 genuinely. I think John just needs 1 or 2 more, and I think he will get them.
So if they're not going to be up there, who's it between? Dundalk?
Well, I think they will, because I think when you look at the league, to be fair, I think you've got maybe 4 teams, and then the rest then, I think, to be fair, Cork are well capable of beating them.
So who are the 4?
Well, I think you've got Dundalk, I think you've got Cork, I think you've got Rovers. Whether Derry can do it, whether Pats can do anything, change, whether Waterford can then go on. They've lost a few players too. They've signed a couple of younger players, and of course they signed Damien Lane as well too. So I do think that you're looking there, and maybe you would imagine that it would be Pats as well. I mean, Pats have to.
Could they be a dark horse?
Well, that's what I was just going to say. Like there could be a few dark horses in this league. Like Pats have made some very good signings in Gary Shaw and Mikey Drennan. Excellent King Coleman from Limerick as well. I think Sligo have Sligo with Bucko going in. We all know that when Bucko goes into a new team, they seem to just to push up the league. I think they do need 3 or 4 new players. I think they're on their way, and if they can come in and take the league by storm, you never know what might happen. Sligo. Yeah, I think probably when you're looking just going back to Pats, I think the players that they've signed a very, very good player, Mikey Drennan, I have to say. I remember dealing with Mikey as well, the under-19s, and I remember saying to myself, I was there for 6 years, we had 2 strikers probably that were really good, 3 maybe, but goal scorers, one was Mikey Drennan, looked like a natural goal scorer, scored a hat-trick in his first tournament, could create goals, and his all-round game is very good. Obviously, he felt unwell, and he felt he had to step away from the game, but I was glad to see him back. I remember texting him at the time to his English number, but he may not have got it, or maybe he just didn't want to answer. But it was a shame, because he's a very, very good goal scorer, and I think Pats have got themselves a good sign.
He finished the season very well.
I don't know how he was let go, and I would say he wasn't even fit.
Yeah.
Because he's quick, he can strike balls with his left foot, he can head goals. He's a really, really good all-round player, I have to say.
Johnny Dunleavy going back there as well as
to Sligo.
Or to Sligo.
Yeah, just going to Pats. But I do think they have to try and get up, because I mean they've 6th tour from bottom, or was a relegation on the last day previously, and 6th the year before that. My only biggest fear is that if they don't defend, and you hear people now at the moment saying, you attack, it's all about entertaining, it's all about this, but if you can't defend, and I still go back to this, Conan, I spoke to you on this programme last year about Pats, you can't defend, you can't do anything. And that's the bottom line. History tells you. If you look at the league this year, Dundalk conceded 20 goals and they won the league. Cork won it last year, they conceded 23, which was the least. So you don't have to be rocket science. It doesn't. It's great to attack, but if you can't defend, and Pats couldn't defend, that's the bottom line. So I'm not saying this only now, I said this last year at the start of the season. And Cork City, again too, as I said, decent team, defensively okay. So I mean, there's teams there. If you looked at like the best game, probably the best example I've seen the last while was the Liverpool-Man City game. They talk about Man City about 7-0, 9-0, but the day against Liverpool, the 2-1 win, defensively outstanding, and I felt that particular game. You're talking about Mane, Salah, and Firmino. Now Firmino scored, but to keep them quiet for the amount of time they did. So it doesn't matter what league it is. If you can't defend, you're wasting your time. So anyone that tells you about tactics...
Although from Pat's point of view, you'd imagine somebody like Harry Kenny, who knew all about defending, might be the man to kind of get that organised, that aspect.
Well, they brought in experience in Dave Webster as well, to shore up the defence.
No, I think Pats will be up there now personally. I think they'll be in the top 4.
They may not play...
Top 4?
They may not play the way they played before. Which was, as you said, the Liam Buckley way. Like that.
Yeah, well, in fairness, every conversation or every... that Harry Kenny's been involved in, he's saying he wants to play the right way. Now, whether or not that's... I think you have to be direct at times, shore up that defence.
Well, it goes back to what we spoke about. Personally, what I feel is you have to have the all-round thing in your game. You have to be able to defend and you have to be able to attack. You don't win games by just scoring goals. You have to defend, and you don't win games by just defending. You have to attack. So it's getting a balance, and it's getting it right. Good teams have it, whether it was Dundalk this year, very good, Cork the previous year.
We haven't mentioned Bohemians.
No, you're alright. Supple's the biggest one there. What a goalkeeper. You know what I mean? Retired obviously, unfortunately with injuries. But like that's very hard to replace straight away. We're talking about not conceding goals. Dan Casey after going down to Dundalk, or sorry, to Cork even. So you've got probably your best centre half and your goalkeeper gone. Can they replace them with what they've brought in? Unknowns, lads from England on loan. Again, it's always a roll of the dice. Will they succeed in this league? It's a tough league. You know,
it worked out well for Dara Leahy last year though when they brought him back from Coventry.
A few players, I'd say. I wouldn't only say Dara. I'd say a few players. I think you agree with Stephen there. I think Shane is a big loss. And very unfortunate that he had to retire through injury. James Talbot has signed for them too. He was at Sunderland too. He's only a young goalkeeper, but I think it's probably a bit much maybe at the moment. But then again, he could like to replace Shane Supple. It's big. Dan Casey, as you said, he did very well from when he came in too. So, I mean, they have lost a good few players. JJ Lunny went as well too.
Dan Byrne, Oscar Brennan, Ian
Ian
Morris,
and
of course Owen Stokes as well. I don't think he's re-signed, has he?
And Ali Regbe's away at the moment. We don't know what's happening with him. He could lose
him. The only thing is though, I mean, they've signed some other players back from England too, younger players, and they seem to be able to do well with them.
Hard to do it though, isn't it?
But
season
the only thing is, let's be fair, Con, they're not expected to win the league. So if they can finish up there where they are, I mean, they've done brilliant to finish where they are. Maybe if they won the cup, I think the semi-final of the cup in Daly meant. I mean, it was
big
a
moment.
huge, it was a massive moment though, like, even to get to the cup final then.
Definite penalty though.
No comment.
I think looking at it, it's probably one thing about Dara, to be honest with you. He's probably that little bit, maybe he's young, he's enthusiastic, brave lad. He probably just went for it. Unfortunately, it cost him.
I actually did feel for the young fella. I did. I do think it was a penalty. Genuinely, I went off injured.
So do I genuinely.
I was off injured at the time. I was sitting right there in line with it, and I said penalty straight away. But he's a good footballer, and you can't let that little moment like that define you. Like, he's a long career ahead of him.
Oh, he's very good.
It's very good.
I think the biggest one stands out was in Tala last year. The 90th minute, he was posting up the left there.
97th minute or 98th minute.
Well, young lad like that attitude, you think you stay back for a point.
He's brave, man. He's a great attitude. I'd say.
So no, I did feel for him, but no, you're right. That was a bit of a turning point for Bowes.
But still, though, I mean, where they're expected to do or what they're expected, that doesn't mean they're not trying to win the league. You don't know. They could be trying to win the league, maybe. But unfortunately, they're not. But if they're up there, they've done really well to be. I mean, let's be fair, they took 10 points out Shamrock Rovers, 10 points out as well. So.
But I wish they played like that against everyone.
Yeah.
I know it's a Dublin derby and it's the biggest derby in Irish football, but...
The last person that said that regretted that was the manager of Shamrock Rovers.
But like, why can't they beat Rovers how many times last year?
Three times.
Yeah.
You asking me that on purpose now?
I didn't want to know
12 points.
But you know what I mean? Like, Bowes had the potential last year.
But that's the thing, they're not going to win the league.
Exactly.
But they're there and they're doing quite well because their budget is really small. You know? And I mean, like people talk about even Cork City. I mean, I was reading an article last year that John Caulfield had, and he said he had the fourth biggest budget, but he'd won the double. So, I mean, what does that tell you? People are giving out about, well, they don't play great and they're not easy on the eye. Probably not, but they're still doing the successful things, and you have to still give them credit, to be fair.
Were the players aware of that? Because that was the general consensus was they play pretty ugly football. I'm not sure if that was
fully aware of it. One done. Fully aware of it.
That's what I'm saying.
I couldn't care less if you were disgusting and won 1-0 the last kick of the game. You have a medal in your back pocket, and down the line someone's going to say he's played poor football. Yeah, there's my medal.
What would you that was the thing though, because I mean, Shani Maguire was flying at that start of that season, scoring goals. I mean, like, let's be fair, they did play well, but
we were talking last year about John Caulfield, and towards the end of the season there was talk about him not being at the club the following season, and it's madness considering he plays the way he plays. They won a double the previous year, second in the league, cup final appearance, could have went either way.
Plays a really Cork way, John, because that's the way he was as a player himself. I mean, he loves the club. He's from down there, he knows. And as I said to myself, fourth biggest budget, and he's just at the winning the double. So that doesn't say a lot to people who are above him with the bigger budgets. There's probably only Dundalk, I don't know, but they've been up there for the last few years, and you know, I think it's where, for me, you have other people spinning their way around. And
so who this season now should be looking over their shoulder and saying we'll do well to survive in this division? I mean, is it a fairly obvious answer, or
go on? It's fairly obvious for me.
Yeah, I think like again too, you've got the two new promoted teams, Finn Harps and UCD. I mean, UCD's done great. It's going to be tough. There's no doubt. I mean, they play very well, I have to say. You've got Finn Harps then, who's come up again. again, they've done Limerick in the playoff. And
difficult place to go to.
Yeah, and they've signed a few players as well too, and I mean they've done very well. Finn Harps is again probably small budget, but you would imagine that they'd probably be fighting it out. After that, then probably the 8. I don't know. Yeah, anyone could be there. Sligo. Yeah, I mean, let's be fair. Everybody, we're saying about the teams. Yeah. Someone's going to be there.
Yeah. We haven't spoken about Derry. We don't know what Derry's going to be. Brand new.
Well, again, speaking of teams who've lost an awful lot of players, so I mean, I know Declan Devine is in, but big job on his hands to rebuild.
Absolutely, it's a full rebuilding process at Derry. You know, obviously McAniff's gone, one of their best players.
Darren Cole at the back was very good.
Boy Fisk done well when he came. He's gone. They've all gone.
But I mean, if you look, I think I was doing a radio show there a while ago. I mean, you have to look at the players that's gone out of Derry. They're winning leagues everywhere else. I mean, like you just have to. There must be something. I don't know. It was hard to believe when you looked at, not even last season, the previous season they played Rovers in Tala and they beat them. I think McAniff scored, maybe, or Barry McAniff. There was a strike from the edge of the box, and they looked like that they were going to do something. You're saying to yourself, like, these look decent. And then all of a sudden, they lost 20 games last year in the league.
I suppose, I mean, if you were in the excuses business, they've had a very rocky couple of years. I mean, obviously the Ryan McBride situation. I think that knocked the whole club and knocked the city in many respects. And he was such a big player for them. You know?
And Conan, you know from the dressing room, like, you lose your leader or captain in them circumstances. Like, that's how you recover from that.
It's unbelievable.
Do you ever recover from that? Especially the players like we took Aaron Barry down, who was a centre half partner, Ryan's centre half partner, and you know he probably still hasn't come to terms with it. You know what I mean? So as a team and as a unit, to lose that,
as a club,
as a community, he lived a stone's throw away from the Brandywell. So I think that will play a major impact in their season. And it did go south after that, and I don't think they recovered properly.
I think you're dead right though, Paul. It's really hard to judge what kind of a season they're going to have at this stage.
Again, as you said, Declan is back and he signed a few players on loan, and it seems like there's a few going to the Irish League and a few coming from the Irish League into Derry. So you just don't know, and I mean, getting to it's difficult. I mean, what sort of, like how do you get any sort of continuity? There's only Dundalk really probably have had that, and the manager's changed there as well. Cork City have lost a few, Stephen obviously being one. I don't know who else is down there as a right back since you've gone.
Colin Horgan,
and then you look at the rest of them. So like it is very difficult. I would say Derry, Sligo, Pats, they've signed lots of players, lots of good players, but it's whoever clicks quickest and gets going.
It's the start you have to
make. I think this year is the
biggest.
I'm fifth year in the league, just finished, and I think this year is going to be the biggest transition for every team as a collective unit. I think the league is going to be very interesting from the start. How, as you said, how teams click the first 2 or 3 weeks, because that could define your season. That early could define your season. You know, if things go bad quick.
It has, and it has happened like that over the last couple of years. If you start well, you're going to stay up.
I think the ones that have started well has been the same teams. I think that the Sligo, Pats, Derry, they're 3 teams you would say that, but the rest of them, Dundalk, Cork City, Shamrock Rovers, Waterford, you'd probably say they're probably, most of their squad are still intact, so you've got a fairly decent chance of things going well. But the rest of them, like again, I think it's whoever clicks between them might just be up there. Of
course, Waterford have European football to look forward to this season as well, which is a great boost for the city there. If you were to look at the Premier Division coming up now, if people were voting for their player of the season, I know Conan already has Aaron McAniff filled out on his player of the season, but in terms of players who might be, you know, potential players, the fellas who'll make a big difference, is there 1 or 2 that people should be looking out for this season?
McAniff I was thinking away up the car who McAniff would be one that stick out for me, just the potential that's there, and I think that the style of Rovers are going to play, I think that will suit him. I think if Cork do get 1 or 2 more, I think Carl Shepherd can have a very good year. I think he's going to be the best player down there now the Sadler's gone. He's consistent every year. I think he has the very, very high potential to up his game. And of course Michael Duffy, like we haven't spoke about Michael Duffy, like as a right back he's just a disaster to play against, you know. It really is, like you can't even get close to kick him. That's how quick and sharp he is, you know. Like Darryl Horgan played against him in a few cup finals, but I'd have Michael Duffy genuinely harder to defend against to play against, so he's going to be there and thereabouts again because he's just consistently good. You know, he doesn't have a bad month or 2. He's just an all-round complete player at the moment.
And Hubin to tap them all in?
At the tap-ins, yeah. Tap-in header.
That's harsh.
I don't mean that.
What was yourself, Paul?
Well, again, too, look, I mean, I think there's a lot of new players in the league. It's very difficult. You look to Dundalk, and like you say, probably will hope be the same again. I mean, he was fantastic last year, the goals he scored. Michael Duffy was fantastic as well too. I think maybe Kelly going to be interesting to see how he fits in and how he does, maybe with a full-time club, and he could be one to watch. The rest of the teams, I do think, again, just going back to Pats, I think if Mikey Drennan gets himself right, I think he could be a useful player. I do, because I really felt him saying to myself, the last goal scorer we had was Robbie Keane. This fella looks like he's a natural goal scorer, and it was just a shame I don't know. So I'm hopeful that he might, because the league needs good players like him. So I'm hopeful that he might do something. Again, too, as I said, it's very difficult with the rest of the players, because there's a lot of them have moved on, and there's new fellas coming in, and not only that, we're now only in January, so someone could go out and sign a major player in the next few weeks, like a few clubs. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm sure there will be clubs doing business.
Shane Duggan is a great signing for Waterford.
Very good, Shane.
Leader for Limerick and European
big
football.
loss for Limerick.
Big loss for Limerick.
Good player, good experience.
The one thing that kind of strikes me looking ahead to this season, though, is that I think there's potential for it to be really tight. Like, you know, the way last season everything was kind of wrapped up 2 or 3 weeks before even relegation was sorted, more or less. I think this, I'd love to think that this one is going to be a tighter race, and, you know, every match between the top teams is going to be exciting, you know.
Yeah, hopefully you're right, Con, because I mean, I think there is too much of a gap between Dundalk and Cork and the rest probably over the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And there's no you can't shy away from it. So you do hope, as I said already, the fact that Dundalk have lost their manager and not like it was up in the air what they were doing. So people might feel that there's a chance there, and only time will tell. Hopefully it will be. Again, the relegation team, it's hard to know, you know, he'll be there. But over the last number of years, there's been clubs there, 2 or 3 years, that probably that particular year, Pats were there, Derry were there, was it Derry or Sligo?
Sligo were there as well,
yeah, and you know, so I mean, I do also feel personally, looking at the league, probably from the outside, there's been a lot of clubs that have made a lot of mistakes too, I feel, in terms of managers and making the wrong choices, and it doesn't help clubs. It just doesn't, particularly when when people know financially it's not great. But if you keep doing the wrong things, and that's the only thing that I feel as well too. And hopefully, again too, we said it before, that there's no more financial problems. But you look at last year, unfortunately there was again, and that's probably what you're hoping to.
You want to avoid that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, like it is.
And yourself, Paul, you're looking to get back into management soon?
Well, I mean, it's difficult, Conan, to be honest with you. Of course I would like to be, but I'm not sure why. I don't know what the situation is.
It's these phone calls, it's the text messages. Nobody's replying to the text messages.
The English number. I haven't applied for.
I was going to say to you,
No, I haven't. Although there was an article in the Independent from a journalist who said I wasn't interviewed for any St. Pat's job. I never applied for it. I never applied for Shelbourne. I never applied for Sligo. I never applied for Derry. Not because I think I should get a job, but I didn't apply for them. I think if you've got to apply for them, you ain't going to get one. And of course I'd like to be in there. I did apply 2 years ago. I applied for Shamrock Rovers, which I won 2 doubles with. I never got a phone call back to even say, listen, not a chance, or whatever they want to say to me. And I applied for Galway. I read what the criteria was for that, and I said, well, I might have that in my CV, I might. So I sent that in. I didn't get a phone call back. So I mean,
you think that the manager's job is lined up before?
Well, I don't know if it's lined up, but I think out of respect, as I said, I wouldn't disrespect anybody. If anybody wanted to talk to me, of course I would talk.
Yeah.
But I think there's some, not only with me, there's other coaches out there. I think there's people again too. Probably, I'm not saying I'm a great coach, but the one thing I would say is, I'm really honest, I wouldn't be spinning any yarns like what's going on at the moment. And so.
Well, you know how to win, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well,
Just look at
player
your
as
CV.
manager, yeah.
Hopefully we'll see you back in football very soon, Paul. And you have a really good time over in America. Best of luck with it. I think it's going to be. I think it's no matter what, it's a great life experience to go and try it over there and see how you get on. You know.
Yeah, so give it a go. You can always come home.
Yeah,
I mean that's the attitude.
You're heading off very soon.
I'm going tomorrow week.
Tomorrow week.
Yeah. So then pre-season will start the 1st of February. So kept myself fit. I've done a bit of training with Cork in the off season just to stay on top of things. So
doing the arm sessions and all.
Too much stick over there.
just thinking there about Steve, what he was saying. He's 30 now. you're still only a young lad.
Yeah.
Remember, 30's not that old.
Dino's off won
Another
a World
6
Cup
years,
when he was
yeah,
40. So.
Yeah, cheers, mate.
We will be talking, by the way, about the First Division and about the underage leagues as well, and programmes to come very shortly. But for now, anyway, Paul, Stephen, thanks a million.
Thanks a million,
Thanks very much.
Thanks very much.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.